Hello, all my lovely people in the Sacred You group. I wanted to jump on and do a video for you today because we are nearing the end of the actual delivery of content for the first round of the Sacred You group. You should have, at this point, done your needs, wants, and desires. You're embarking on your 66-day challenge so that you've decided what habits it is that you want to change or add. I like to say add, not change, because you just put more good stuff in, it naturally crowds the bad stuff out. So we're getting to the implementation and maintaining part of all of the awesome work that you have done. I want to make sure that you are on good footing to do the implementation and, most importantly, the maintaining of what you want. So I want to go over hope, expectation, and the difference between a positive thinker, a negative thinker, and an optimist, because they're important and they're going to play a significant role, truly significant role in your ultimate success. Not just with the hard work that you've done here in Sacred You, but in life overall. Okay, if you are friends with me on Facebook, then this morning I got on and I posted this great little nugget that I got, which is simply the fact that everyone in the world needs hope in some capacity, okay? But hope is a terrible strategy for success. I just want that to sink in for just a moment. We all need hope. All of us need hope, okay? Hope is what keeps us going in difficult times. Hope is what we cling to when we are doubtful or full of fear. Hope is the blanket that you use to wrap around you when you're just not sure about anything that's happening. That's hope. It makes us feel good. It gives us that light down at the end of the dark tunnel. Okay? We know it's there. We know that it's there. We're just down here in the dark right now. That hope isn't going to get you to the light at the end of the tunnel. Okay? You cannot hope yourself to success. Success requires action. It requires the mindset shift from being hopeful to being expectant. You need to make the shift from I hope and pray that it's going to work out to I expect this to be the outcome. Okay? The reason that's important is because we perform, we engage, we take action in life based on our expectations. Let's use the dark tunnel and the light at the end. Okay? Hope is that light. I hope that light stays there. My expectation is that that light's going to stay there. So I'm just going to sit here because at least the light's at the end of the tunnel. If instead it's I'm going to get to the light at the end of the tunnel, I'm going to go see where the light is coming from, your expectation then isn't just the fact that the tunnel is lit, even though you're sitting in a dark place, it's that you are going to get to where the light is so that you're not in the dark place anymore. How do we move to a place of expectation so that that is where our mind is at? There are three components actually that play into that. And the first is that we have to come from a place of optimism. Okay, so remember I said I wanted to talk about optimism, positive thinking, and negative thinking. So the first component to moving towards living and acting from a place of expectation is to come from a place of optimism. And this is very different than positive thinking. It's important to know the difference here because a lot of people cling to the positive thinking as the end-all be-all of it's going to make everything okay. I'm not saying that positive thinking isn't important, because it is. Optimism, though, is more important. Optimism is based in critical thinking. Okay, that's the main component. That's the big difference. It's rooted in a higher level of self-esteem and self-belief. okay? A great example, and I say this without meaning or wanting to offend anybody, but it is something that I hear quite often when I'm working with people, even just in simple conversation about making a change in life and wanting something different. It's the, I'm going to sit and pray about it. There's nothing wrong with prayer. Please understand that's not what I'm saying. Prayer is important. No matter what your spirituality is, what it is you believe, we all pray in some way. Meditation is a form of prayer. Affirmations is a form of prayer. Reading the Bible, prayer. Going to church, kneeling, doing your prayers, praying, that's fine. Prayer is hope. Okay, I need you to realize that. Prayer alone is not getting you anywhere. Though it has been a few years since I've actually studied the Bible from an academic standpoint or have read the Bible from cover to cover, my memory, as good as it is, I am fairly certain there's nowhere in the Bible where God's word says, just pray and everything will be fine. It's not in there. It's not the way that it works. Prayer is hope. You pray because you need that guidance. You need that hug. You need to calm the fear and calm the doubt and know that you can get through and that you're not doing it alone. Okay, that there's forces outside of you that are helping you get there, but they're not going to drag you. You have to take the action to get there, and that's the optimist. Okay, the optimist sits there and sees, this is what I want, and this is how I'm going to get there. We can use an analogy because people like pictures, so you like to be able to mentally imagine things. I would like you to think of a house fire, and we're going to put in a negative thinker, a positive thinker, and an optimist, and I'm going to show you the difference. The negative thinker stands in the burning building going, oh my God, the house is on fire, I'm going to die, and he perishes. He or she perishes. The positive thinker stands in the burning building going, well, aren't those flames beautiful, the way that they lick the ceiling and the walls? At least I'm not going to drown. It's the positive thinker. The optimist stands there and says, the house is on fire. There's a way over there for me to get out. I'm going and I'm getting out. And he lives. He or she lives. Okay, the optimist sees what is happening. Their critical thinking skills kick in. They know that they are able to get out of that situation and they take action to get out of it. That's the difference. Okay, so remember, the negative person is the, oh, well, the house was on fire, we're going to die, and he dies. The positive thinker is, oh, they're beautiful flames as they lick the ceiling, at least I'm not going to drown, and he dies. The optimist goes, the house is on fire, there's a way out, I'm going. That's the key difference. Okay, I also want you to remember, if you think all the way back to when we started Sacred You, one of the things I asked you to believe was that you have all of the resources you need right now to be successful. That is none the less true today than it was then, okay? You have everything you need to be successful. Everything. You may not realize it, but that doesn't change the fact that you have it. I'm hoping that as you've done the work, as you've gone through the exercises, as you've really dug deeper to find your own inner divinity and who you are and strengthen that relationship with yourself, that you see you have the resources that you need. Okay? Stick with the optimist thinking. Okay? Whatever goals it is that you came into this program with, whatever goals it is that you've set, so whatever it is you have on your 66-day challenge, however you hoped to change your relationship with self from the time you started to the time that we're done with the actual content delivery, the optimist goes, how do I make it work? This is what I need to do. These are the actions that I need to take. Okay? It's truly the highest form of self-empowerment and personal responsibility that you could bestow upon yourself. You owe it to yourself, actually, okay? Holding yourself accountable to it. Have that expectation of, I am going to do this. I am. I can do it. Many people sit there and think about expectations, and they look at it as a demand, okay? When I have couples do the needs, wants, desires outline, and it's just focusing on their relationship. Sometimes the feedback is, well, the needs are your expectations. You expect this from me. Well, no, the needs are the requirements, okay? The expectations would be the wants. It would be the desires that you have on that list, okay? So those are the things you're moving towards. The needs are what's required to get there, okay? The needs are who you are, what you need to be whole. That is you digging deeper into your resources that you currently have, your resources to be successful. The expectations are what you're moving towards. Until you accept that, okay, until you accept that, you're not going to be able to change. They're not demands. They are simply the goalpost towards where you want to go and that you are working towards, not that you're expecting or demanding someone else to get you there. When you make that shift, when you go from being the hopeful to the praying that it's going to work out, to moving to working and living and breathing from a place of high expectation, that's when everything changes. That's when the magic happens, okay? That's when you become committed to what it is that you're doing. When you become committed to what it is that you want. The next part that comes with expectations is realizing that as great as expectations are, and we all need them, and we should have them, is that they also then come with their own sort of glass ceiling. If you currently are working a job and you expect to make $65,000 a year, then you're going to make $65,000 a year. If you don't ever expect to make more than that, you're not going to. If you are in a relationship that's not as fulfilling as you want it to be, but you expect that that's just the way that it's going to be for the rest of your life, then that's just the way it's going to be for the rest of your life. If you want to lose weight, but you expect exercise to be difficult, and then you're not going to do it, then that's exactly what's going to happen. The exercise is going to be difficult and you're not going to do it, and then you're not going to lose weight. Okay? So, understanding that expectations, though they are good, they have the negative component as well. They have that duality that we need. That's a good thing to have, because you have to realize that you need the good and the bad. You need the yin and the yang. That's what motivates us. Okay, that's what it pushes us to become better and provides the peace. Those expectations, that ceiling that we just talked about, that I pointed out because you cannot outperform your expectations. Those are the examples that I just gave you. If you expect something to be hard, it's going to be hard. If you expect that you're only ever going to get here, you're only ever going to get there. It doesn't matter how much work you put into. It doesn't matter how much you spend on coaching. It doesn't matter how much you spend on personal training. It doesn't matter how much you invest in going to school, learning, adding new skills, whatever it is, okay? Whatever it is you're doing. If your expectation is that you're only ever going to be here, that's all you're going to get. Okay, you can, let's take corporate America. You are working in supply chain somewhere, okay? And you're a buyer. Your expectation is to always be a buyer, but you also are interested in project management, let's say. So you go and you learn the skills of how to become a project manager. And I know this is a completely abstract example from what it is that we're normally talking about, but go with me. As a buyer, you're sitting there and you're doing your job and you're doing your job and you're doing your job because that's what you are, that's what you expect to be, that's where you expect to stay, but you've added these new skills of project management. What your boss and what the company sees you as is a buyer, because that's what you are, that's what your expectations are. And yes, you have these skills and they're going to use you in these other areas because you've got the skills to do project management, but you're not going to become a project manager. You're a buyer, because that's where you see yourself. We can use a personal example from your relationship, okay? So we can use a mother-daughter relationship, simply because I'm a mother and a daughter, and I have 2 daughters. If you always expect the relationship you have with your mother to be difficult, it's always going to be difficult. If you expect that every time you talk to your mom, that the same things are going to be rehashed over and over and over and over and over again, then that's what's going to happen. If you, as a mother, expect your daughter to never listen to you, to not really want to be part of your life, to not engage in making that relationship better, that's exactly the way that it's going to be. And the reason being is because you're not putting in the effort to make it anymore. You're not taking action to make it different. You may frame what you're thinking and may frame what you're saying a little differently in the beginning, but ultimately your actions that you're taking are the same. You're maintaining the status quo. So, because you cannot outperform what your expectations are, I implore you to do this. I simply ask that you set high expectations in every aspect of your life. Actually, dream huge. Make them so big that they almost seem, that word that I don't believe in, impossible. Okay? Then be pragmatic in the way that you're going to go about achieving them. Okay? That is, I implore you to do that. It motivates you, it guides you, it keeps you on track. I've said before, there's nothing that's impossible. You can achieve anything. Anything. I don't care what it is. Someone out there has achieved it already, therefore meaning it's possible. You just have to figure out how you can achieve it. And that's the whole point of setting the high expectations. Now, along with the expectations, you have to then match your performance to that. And this is why making that shift in your mind from being hopeful and praying to having an expectant attitude is important, because when you have certain expectations, your actions then match what those expectations are in most cases, providing you're coming from a place of optimism, which is, if I want to lose 15 pounds, I know that I have to eat this way and I have to exercise this way, and I am eating this way and I am exercising this way. That's the actions matching the performance, actions matching the expectation, which is the goal. Okay, so they have to work together. Sorry, I took notes to make sure I cover everything, and here I've lost my place. Yep, talking about the expectations that we don't meet. Okay. And then that's when people come in and they want to tell you, well, your expectations are just too high. You set an unrealistic goal. It is only an unrealistic goal if you are not going to make the commitment to making it happen. Okay? There's no such thing as an unrealistic goal. There's not. It may not be easy. It may take longer than what you want, but that doesn't mean that it's unrealistic. It's unrealistic if you aren't going to put in the effort. It's unrealistic if all you're going to do is hope and pray. Okay? You have to take the actions necessary to get where you want. That's the key. That is the key. The action has to match the expectations. That then makes everything possible. It also then makes everything a realistic goal. That's the part people miss. That is the most common derailment for people as they're working towards goals, as they're setting goals, is they set these huge goals and then they don't take the steps or the actions to get there. It'll all work out in the end. I am not saying that I don't say that because I truly believe in the end everything works out the way that it's supposed to. I do believe that. That's just it. And if it isn't working out the way that I wanted to, one, it means it's not the end, and two, I have to work harder to get to where it is that I expect to be, which is at the end everything working out the way that it's supposed to. Okay, so it's one thing to say I expect to be here and I'm not there, which then creates discomfort, okay, discord. There's something that then inside you goes, ugh, and it makes you want to stop. Or it makes you go, okay, what do I need to tweak, work on, improve, or add to what it is that I'm doing so that I get there? Okay, and that's what they refer to as the winner attitude, okay, which is the recognizing that that's where you want to be, you're not quite there, what is it that you need to do to get there? Okay, it's not, trust me, guys, it is not sit there and go, it's an unrealistic goal. Okay, that's not it. It's not sitting there going, oh, it's just impossible to get there, because that's not the answer either. You can get there. It's attainable. You just have to take the actions to get there. And it's a consistent effort. It is an everyday effort. I covered that in the last video. It is something that you work at each and every single day to get there. Okay? Alluding back to what I asked you about, setting the huge goals, it's to be unreasonable in your dreams. Okay, that's the quote. The quote is to be unreasonable in your dreams and pragmatic in your approach. You know deep down inside that you are capable of achieving that goal. Whatever goal it is that you have, you know that you can achieve it. And you know this because you found that dream or that desire deep down inside of you. You are not sitting there telling yourself that you could be the next president if you don't believe you're capable of being the next president. Okay? You don't sit there and you don't tell yourself that you're going to be the next Picasso if you don't believe you can do it. None of us sit there and set ourselves up for failure. Believe it or not, you don't. You lose sight of the steps that it takes to get there. That's the problem. Okay? But you have it. It's in you. You have the ability. You have the resources. You have everything you need to be successful. It is simply making that shift from hope and pray to expectation and action. So your performance matches the expectation. Okay? You've got the skills. Remember, I just said that. You've got the resources. It doesn't mean that you don't need to learn new things. It doesn't mean that when you do learn new things that you have to completely learn something that's totally alien to you. Sometimes it's just tweaking and improving a skill that you already have. But the most important skill that you need to dig deep on is knowing and understanding who you are. To really get in touch with and embrace and hold on to what makes you you. Okay, that's the important part. Knowing what you're about. You have to know and accept the fact that you have the patience that's required to get there. Okay, remember I said huge goals, high expectations and big dreams are not impossible and they're not unrealistic. They take time. They take time and they take consistent effort. That's all. And you need the patience in order to make it a reality. The best part is you've got the patience. It's in there because I already told you none of us sit there and set ourselves up for failure. We set ourselves up to be the best version of ourselves. We just forget that to get there requires that we do these couple of things. Your expectations are your standards. They're the standards that you set for yourself. Okay? One of my favorite, and I don't mean that it's a favorite, but because I hear it a lot, is that I'm just always going to be alone. I hear this from men and women that are looking to find a relationship or are afraid of ending a bad relationship. They'd rather stay in a bad relationship because otherwise they're just going to be alone. I don't want to start all over. If that's your standard, if that's your expectation of what is meant for you in the world of relationships in your life, then that's what it's going to be. Actually, if you end that bad relationship and then you expect the next relationship to turn out just the same, guess what? It does. It doesn't miraculously go, no, I'm going to show you that I'm going to be different than the past, because your expectations are the same. You sit there and you wait for someone to fail you, they're going to fail you. Okay? If you are constantly worried about being sick or out of money, you are going to be sick and you are going to be out of money. If you sit there and you are afraid to succeed, you're not going to succeed. Many people make the mistake, side note, of thinking that it's a fear of failure, which keeps people stuck. They just don't want to fail, and that's why they analyze and they try to make everything perfect. Actually, most cases, they're afraid to succeed, because that means change, and change is scary. Remember, we've covered that. Nobody likes change. It's uncomfortable, but change is where growth happens. Okay, think of that garden. Think of those seeds that you planted. That seed can't stay a seed forever. It's meant to be something more. And in order to be something more, it not only has to bust out of its shell, it has to push up through that dirt and find its way to the sun and to the water. Okay, you're that seed. At some point in your life, you were that little seed and you had to break out of your shell. And if you haven't broken out of your shell, now is your time to break out of that shell and push your way through the dirt. No, it's not fun. No, it's not easy, but oh my God, is it worth it? It's worth it. Have you ever looked at a rose bush and thought how beautiful that is? How amazing a simple little rose is? Do you realize everything it had to go through to get there? It started off as a seed. I mean, you can go all the way back to when you actually were a seed, an egg, and then you had to be fertilized, and then you had to fight your way out of your mom. And think about that. Just think about the whole birth process and how uncomfortable that was, not just for your mother, but for you. Okay, so what that says is you've done this shit before. You can do it again. You can push yourself out of what is comfortable and become better. That's all that means. That's it. You've done it before. You've got the muscle memory in there. You just have to engage with it. Okay, so now I've talked about the expectations and standards. I want to stress the fact, we did the needs, wants, and desires, and the needs being non-negotiable, okay? I cannot stress to you, once you determine what your needs are, once you set your standards of what it is that you expect, don't compromise. Do not compromise on those needs or that standard, okay? You owe it to yourself to make sure that your needs are met and that you're honoring your standards. Because if you don't, no one else will. Okay? You set the stage. You lead by example on how the world interacts with you. It is not the other way around. It's not. It isn't that the world interacts and then you change. No, you change and then the world responds. I had to take a deep breath on that one. I'm sorry. So the never compromising, I apologize. This requires two things, confidence and patience, okay? And you have these things. You just have to tune into them. Have the confidence that you deserve what it is you're going after, okay? Have the confidence that you have what it takes to fulfill those expectations and those desires, okay? Have the confidence in the fact that you can live up to your standards. Remember, it's action. There is no point in saying, this is my expectation and this is my standard, and then you do not live in accordance with that. You're not, it is one of those, it's stupid, okay? Just don't do it. Have the patience. I've said it a couple times in here. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not even necessarily going to happen in the time frame you want, but it's going to happen. Let it. Stay consistent. Work on it every day. Honor your expectations. honor your standards, live in alignment with what it is that you've laid out in front of you. That's how you're going to get there. Know that hoping and praying is not going to get you there. Now, when you're having a rough day, yes, hope, pray. Actually, hope and pray every day if that's what it takes to keep you feeling like you're going to get there, but don't let that be all you're doing. Okay, so the optimist is the middle ground. Let me stress that. So I know that everywhere you go, they always talk about, well, don't be on the fence. You got to pick one side or the other. No, no, no. Right now, I'm telling you, on the fence is where you need to be. You don't need the positive thinker, and you don't need to be the negative nanny. You need to be the optimist that goes, that's where I'm going, that's where I'm going to get, and this is how I'm going to get there. And yes, bad things may happen, and on those days when bad things happen, I'm going to hope and pray. But I'm going to keep taking steps. Okay? That's it. That is what it is. Set the goal. Set your expectation. Start believing that you're going to get there. And then take the action to get there. Keep hope for the rainy day. Keep the positive thinking. That's fine. I'm not saying don't think positively, but please don't let that be the only thing it is that you're doing. Understand bad things happen. Don't dwell on the negative. Don't become the negative Nancy, because that's not going to get you there either. It's going to be hard. It's going to take work. It takes consistency. Okay. There was a couple that I worked with, and one of the exercises I gave them was I wanted them to plant a flower, and I wanted them to do it in a pot, and I wanted them to put it in their kitchen window where they saw it every day. The reason that I wanted them to do this was the fact that it doesn't matter if you stand there and stare at that flower pot every single day. You cannot reach in that dirt, crack that shell, and pull it out so that it grows when you want it to. No, it grows in its own way, in its own time. It pushes its way up through that dirt, and it gets to the rain and the sun so that it can become the amazing thing that it is meant to be when it was meant to be. Be patient. One of my favorite sayings is, nothing good comes easy. And if it comes easy, it's not that good. I think there are a few exceptions to that, but I can't really think of any off the top of my head right now. So, as we are coming to the close of the Sacred You content delivery, this is your shot, okay? This is your chance. If there is something that we've gone over that you're still struggling with, if there is a breakthrough that you feel that you haven't achieved yet, if you want help with solidifying that plan, if you just need the encouragement of absolutely not, that is not an unrealistic goal. No, there's no way that that's impossible, because as I've already said, everything's possible and everything is realistic as long as you're going to put in the work for it. Now, there may be some of you that I have worked with on a one-on-one basis that are going to come to me and say, well, this is the goal that I want. And I may look at you and ask you, are you willing to put in the effort to get there? And I'm asking that based on conversations that we've had. I'm asking you to make that commitment. I'm not asking you to prove something to me, because in the end it doesn't matter. It isn't my life, it's yours. I want you to make the commitment to yourself. That's what this is about. This is about you. This has all been about you. You getting to where you are meant to be. And the Sacred You, that this time is just a small step in you getting there. It is really making sure that you, as that seed, is planted in good soil, that you have and you realize you have everything that you need to get through the dirt. That's what this is. That's what I'm hoping for you. If you don't feel that you're there yet, or if you need more, if you want more one-on-one, please post here. Send me a direct message. Send me an email. We will schedule a time and we will work together to get you there. That's included in this. So I don't want you to think that I'm saying that right now as oh, there's going to be a catch. There's no catch. It's you're in the Sacred You program. This is part of it. It's helping you get to where you want to be. Okay? So I apologize, it's a long video, but I promise it was easier to do the video than what it was to actually write it all out for you, and then you have to sit there and read it because you can fast forward through the video. I hope you all have a great day. I look forward to hearing your feedback in the group. I thank you very sincerely for being a part of the Sacred You group, and I am so excited about what lays ahead for us. Have a wonderful day.